Them in, talking, using them in the right place. Done a good job of molding everything together. He's a good guy. We've worked well together, and I think he works well with the rest of the staff.
Expected to be a new head coach of the New York Giants. Let's go back to Eden Prairie, where Stacey Dales is. Stacey, let's talk about the impact that Pat Shurmur has had on this team in 2017.
Patrick, I think Mike Zimmer alluded to it a little bit earlier in that clip that we just heard. The players have responded to him. I had a conversation with Jeremiah Searles, who's one of the starting offensive linemen for this Vikings offense. And he said that one of the reasons that Pat Shurmur is so good, and by the way, Pro Football Writers Association announcing him as the assistant coach of the year in the National Football League. A lot of great coaches in the league, so really high praise there. But the way the players have responded, because Coach Shurmur puts them in positions to be themselves and to be good, to be successful. Case Keenum, the quarterback, talked about it today. He said not only does he protect the quarterback, but he gives us a chance to be successful by putting us in those situations. Pat Shurmur is a coach, and for whichever team, if that be the Giants next year, that gets him as their head coach, are going to love the fact that he's not going to base his offense solely on the scheme. He's going to base it on the personnel. We saw Sam Bradford go down early this season and Case Keenum take over. They are two different quarterbacks. He has developed this offense around the talents that behold this offense, and that's what players love. And I think that's one of the reasons you're seeing Case Keenum have tremendous success this year. Think about it. 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 67% completion rate. He's been very efficient. Part of that's due to Pat Shurmur.
And Stacey, the way Pat Shurmur has built this team, at least this Case Keenum iteration of the offense, they're able to get a lot of action from the run game, especially on the inside. How do they feel about that opportunity against an Eagles defense that's really stout in there?
Really stout to the tune of allowing their opponents defensively running the football to just, on average, Patrick, 79 rush yards per game. They are number one in the NFL stopping the run. They're going to try to run it, though. These Vikings, I'm going to tell you, between Jerick McKinnon and Latavius Murray, they are the second most efficient running back tandem in the National Football League since Week 5, since the Delvin Cook ACL injury, and their MO is going to be to try to go in, and even if they're not big gains on the ground, they're going to try to make efficient run plays, not negative ones, but efficient ones, so that they can stack up those route trees that we've come to, see with this team, whether it be Adam Thielen, who over 50% of the time runs his routes in the slot, Stephon Diggs, Kyle Rudolph, who's had a career year. This will be an interesting game, but the Vikings, we know, want to run the football first.
Yeah, matchup of great play callers on both sides. Looking forward to this game coming up on Sunday. Stacey Dales live in Eden Prairie. Thanks, Stacey. We go now over to the other side. The Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Foles, preparing for his third career postseason start. He is 1-1. Doug Peterson talking this week about how Foles is feeling after his win over the Atlanta Falcons, where he played well late.
Nick, from preparation, the same. Nothing's changed there. I would say that, obviously having a game like he had and as efficient as he was, it just boosts confidence, going forward. Nick is Nick. I mean, he comes to work every single day and does the same thing every single day and prepares the same. And there's not a lot that really, gets under his skin. But I've seen a little more confidence in him. It's not hard to get motivated for this week and the opportunity in front of our football team right now.
Doug Peterson there at the podium. He's been moving pieces around. One of our key pieces, James Palmer, is live in Philadelphia. The matchup, the chess match, if you will, James, between that Eagles offensive line and the Vikings defense, how do they feel about that?
Yeah, new challenge for Nick Foles going against this #1 ranked defense with the Minnesota Vikings, Patrick. And it's because of what his offensive line has in terms of intelligence that may help him going against this talented front seven of the Vikings. Pre-snap, very important. And Jason Kelce, their center, an all-pro. Many consider him another quarterback on the field because of what he can recognize pre-snap. Also, Stefan Wisniewski, their guard, a former center. Lane Johnson and I were talking this week about what he brings to the table in terms of intelligence and recognizing things pre-snap, stunts, all of these things up front that teams like to do. Well, the Vikings are one of the best at disguising what they want to do defensively. So this offensive line, extremely smart, but also talented. I mentioned Lane Johnson. He's probably the best right tackle in all of football. And Brandon Brooks, the other guard, is a Pro Bowler this year. So they have the talent aspect, but at the same time, to help out Nick Foles, what they can do intelligence-wise to help him out pre-snap is going to be very important because of what Mike Zimmer does with this defense.
And James, from a talent standpoint, this is with losing a guy who could be going to the Hall of Fame in Jason Peters. They lose a quarterback that was an MVP candidate. Howie Roseman's starting to get some recognition for the team that he assembled this offseason.
He definitely is. He got some today, named Executive of the Year, and it's because of mentions like Carson Wentz that you said, trading up in the draft, the length that they had to go to get Carson Wentz, the future quarterback, the franchise quarterback, for the long haul here, but also bringing in the quarterback that's going to be playing on Sunday. Nick Foles was contemplating retirement. He signs Nick Foles. He really bolstered this receiving core. He trades Jordan Matthews, their leading receiver from last season, gets Ronald Darby. They had issues at corner, bring him in. He also brings in Jay Ajayi through a trade for a fourth-round pick middle of this season. A lot of the moves that he has made, and he's always been one of the more active general managers since he's been in that role in a variety of capacities since 2010 here in Philadelphia. Doug Peterson, for what he's done with this group, deserves a lot of credit. The players executing get a lot of credit as well, but what he's done bolstering the backside of this team to where they've been able to battle through the injuries that you mentioned and still be one win away from the Super Bowl, Howie Roseman deserves a lot of credit as well.
Yeah, a couple of teams that have had to deal with a fair amount of injuries this season. One win away from the Super Bowl. James Palmer in Philadelphia with the Eagles. Thanks, man. Here's the ranks. Defense, offense, points per game, number one total defense, the 21st ranked offense this season, including the playoffs for the Eagles. Third down percentage, first against 27th. The offense, the defense matchup. Our coach, Brian Billick, has been in the lab. He's got like spreadsheets and a laser pointer. He's breaking down this Eagles offense.
Well, everybody's talking about the RPO offense of the Philadelphia Eagles, the run-pass option. Remember, Nick Foles comes out of the Chip Kelly system earlier, so he's very proficient at this. And it's really straightforward in terms of what they try to do with it, in terms of the reads and what the throws are going to be. Here you can see a two-handed fake to the running back. He's got to have both hands on the ball to get the throw. They over-rotate the defense. It opens up an easy alley to Aguilar in here to get the completion. Now, you still have to read the defense, even though you're trying to trick them with the run fake. Both hands on the ball. Now you can see the defensive end drops a little bit. Aguilar knows, okay, I'm going to find my way all but further into the interior of the defense to still find that alley. Now, you can condense the formation. Instead of running slants, you can now, after the play fake, run a quick out when you got one-on-one coverage on this backside. Now, this next one's not an RPO, but the RPOs have set them up. It's a 3-by-1. You're going to see the vertical down the field, which they need to do a lot more of, with a deep out route at the bottom down here to Zach Ertz. You get the play fake. He doesn't like what he sees at the top in the three verticals, but he converts on third down with this deep out to Zach Ertz. So it's a complete offense within itself. The Eagles, though, are going to have to try to get a little more of those big plays down the field rather than just the underneath throws if they expect to beat the Vikings.
Appreciate that, Coach. Does Doug Marrone have the secret to Tom Brady? Does he have the book? And did first graders write that book? That's coming up on Up to the Minute Live. Also coming up, Hall of Fame finalist and former Jags tackle Tony Baselli live to talk about the Jags' chances against Tom, Bill, and the Patriots. That's next on NFL Network.
You need to buy a car, and you want to get an excellent price. You'd think with all these options it'd be easy, but with terms like MSRP, invoice, list price, things get confusing pretty fast. You just want to get a real price, and that's where TrueCar comes in. Only with TrueCar can you see what other people paid for the car you want.